soul from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
We struggled as to strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Good morning and welcome to Africa's finest breakfast show. It's Global Morning on Global Television. Welcome to today, the 15th day of August 2024. It's Thursday and we're so glad to be part of your lives. And we're set to make your day truly amazing by giving you all the big stories across the world, from the globe to the African continent and definitely Nigeria, making you well informed with all the very interesting talking points across our national life. I'm not alone. I've got someone who puts that, gloss. She's already smiling. Okay, letting the cat out of the bag. I've got Queen Agaba by my side, and we intend to make your day truly amazing. Good morning, Queen.
Good morning, Anthony. Why does it feel like today's your wedding day?
Okay, because with the African Queen by my side.
Of course, you're dressed, dapper, looking dapper, like it's a special ceremony. Anyway, it's not to dispute the fact that you always look good. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And you're looking with black, representing the African continent. What's happening today? Never seen you all black and looking so nice.
I just felt like looking different this time around.
Okay, great.
Black.
All right, so we intend to make your day truly amazing, like we said, and we've got lots of, things in between to get you informed. We begin from the global scene, and as usual, we would be looking at what the papers are saying this morning so that you're well informed before you hit the road. We'll go for a very quick break. When we return, it's going to be the paper review segment. We'll be looking at some of the top stories making the rounds already. But yesterday, we had some very interesting talking points on the news, one of them being the fact that a day earlier, we had the Council of State pass a vote of confidence on Mr. President, especially after the hunger protest. And it was said we had Yakubu Gowon and the other president, talking about Jonathan, joined virtually, while others came physically. But some persons have said the fact that Olusegun Obasanjo, the ex-president, also wasn't there means he does not totally support this present administration.
We've had former President Olusegun Obasanjo make very striking remarks as regards the state of the nation and what's happening. No doubt, our past leaders are beginning to speak from the realities of Nigerians, not necessarily because of their affiliations. I think it's beginning to be clearer, or it's glaring now. Once you're not in power, you're out there, you can best understand the fate of Nigerians. Well, as regards whether he is not in support of this administration, I wouldn't tell. I think he is best in his, he's in the best position, I beg your pardon,
okay,
to, justify that claim, and not me. But from his recent speech, it just means that he's speaking from reality, what Nigerians are facing and what the state of the nation is like.
And the passing of a vote of confidence, do you think they did that based on the fact that they truly believe he's getting the job done, he's taking the country to the right direction, or they're just playing psychophancy?
Well, let's just hope that they're being fair. They're being fair based on the assessment and not based on any affiliations or whatever it is that,
Any interest,
any
right?
Interest, any
okay.
interest rate, any interest at the moment. I think it's time for us to, take a break, and when we come back, we will, expand more on the conversation. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we'll look at what Annamel has for us on taste and texture. Please stay with us.
All right, welcome back from that very quick break. It's now time for us to see what is cooking in the kitchen. Then when we're done with that, we'll be looking at what the papers are saying this morning. Do you have an idea where we're likely to be?
As usual, what we always have. State of the nation, food inflation, imports, a whole lot.
That's what's coming out of the kitchen.
Oh.
You know, what Aname has got in store for us.
I have no idea what Aname, but Aname always has something new and
tasty, right?
Tasty for us in the kitchen. So let's
That's true. You never told me your favorite meal.
Oh, really? I never did. Okay, let's look at what Aname has for us, and then when we return, I'll tell you I have quite a number of them.
Oh boy.
Good morning and welcome to Taste and Texture. Today we're going to be learning how to make crock-pot chicken noodle soup. This crock-pot chicken noodle soup is hearty and comforting, yet incredibly easy to make. No need for a can of soup. Homemade is the best. Chicken and noodles are a magical combination that reminds us of home, great for cold days or for days when you need an extra kick of energy. This soup has nothing to envy in traditional made noodle soups. Plus, you don't need to stir or watch over the pot. Quickly prepared, this soup cooks in the crock pot to a delicious and complete dinner. Chicken, onions, carrot, celery, noodles, fresh herbs and chicken broth are all it takes to serve a bowl of this homey and comforting meal. Cooked in the low cooker as well, it includes condensed soups and leftover chicken or diced rotisserie chicken. For the ingredients, you need your chicken pieces, water, chicken broth, seasoned salt, black pepper, onions, carrot, celery, garlic, which is entirely optional, parsley, dried basil, bay leaf, and your noodles. Steps in preparing this soup. First of all, you need to gather all your ingredients. Place all ingredients except the noodles in the crock pot. Cover and cook on low for about 2 to 3 hours. Once the cooking time is done, remove the chicken and bay leaf from the pot. Remove the meat from the bones, dice it, and return the pieces to the crock pot. Add the noodles and cook on low for another 45 minutes or until noodles are done, about 20 to 30 minutes on high. Spoon the soup in a bowl, garnish with some additional parsley, and enjoy. And that is that for Taste and Texture today. Bye!
All right, just about when we're about to look at what the papers are saying this morning, just to let you know that the Finnish government has assured Nigeria of a collaboration on the case of the factional leader of the separatist group, talking about the indigenous people of Biafra, Simon Ekpa, who resides in Finland. The Finland's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Elina Valtonen, provided this assurance during a press briefing in Abuja on Tuesday. Ekpa, who resides in Finland, leads a faction of the IPOB known as the Autopilot, which has been pushing for the creation of an independent state of Biafra encompassing Nigeria's southeast and parts of the south region. He also alleged to have played a key role in instigating violence in Nigeria, particularly through the enforcement of controversial sit-at-home order and other attacks targeting security personnel. Just to let you know that Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, in the person of Ambassador Yusuf Toga, had on Tuesday engaged a high-level discussions with the foreign ministers of Sweden, Finland, Iceland, and as well as representatives from Norway and Denmark, talking about the Scandinavian countries. The delegation includes the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sweden, Tobias Billström, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Finland, Elina Valtonen, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Iceland, in the person of Todis Kobron Rakeford. The state's Secretary for International Development, Norway, Broch and Sander, and under the Secretary for Foreign Policy, Denmark, they were all in the meeting for that very interesting discourse. But that's, I think, For me, it's a way to go, and it's a positive move by Finland assuring Nigeria that they would do everything to ensure that the factional leader of IPOB is, if need be, extradited back to Nigeria to face the consequences of his actions and decisions in trying to cause chaos in Nigeria. That's one of the interesting talking points. Also, let's look at the issue. All right, I got some, Queen, let's just a quick take as regards the fact that Finland is willing to partner with Nigeria to bring in the factional leader of IPOB, in the person of Simon Ekpa, who from Finland has continued to orchestrate violence in the country. Do you think that's a positive move by Finland, coming out to publicly say, yes, they're going to support Nigeria?
I think that's a positive move, knowing that no nation wants to enable violence, especially in the part of an individual being outside of their home country, and, instigating violence of some sort. I think that's a positive move by Finland, and I think other countries and individuals as well should imitate such moves where we see cases of violence or individuals fleeing from their country, their home country, to another country where they consider safe for them to propagate and instigate violence in their country. We should shun it. I think that way we would be not just pushing for peace and unity, but we would be we'll be moving forward, as a nation or as nations, and we will establish that ties and those ties and relationships that will be mutually beneficial for both countries.
All right, let's go for, it's time for us to look at what the papers are saying, and we urge the editor to roll us in with the montage there as regards to signal. Finally, it's time for us to look at some of the top stories making the rounds on Nigerians daily. All right, let's go for a quick break. When we return from the break, we'll be looking at some top stories making the rounds across the country's national dailies.
I want to go further to congratulate you on being on DSTV 365. Yeah, channel 365. It's an awesome thing. Congratulations, and I will enjoy each and every one to keep on watching Global TV.
This is Global TV. For your current affairs, for your current information, ideas, education, entertainment news at the best. Channel 365 on DSTV. You have just come alive into a new phenomenon in the media industry. Keep watching. Stay tuned.
Keep watching Global Television on DSTV channel 365 for your news and all national issues and international breaking news. Watch Global TV.
right, it's time for us to look at some of the top stories making the rounds. One of them we had earlier discussed, talking about Finland's agreement to help Nigeria get Simon Ekpa back into the country to face treasonable charges. We'll also be looking at some stories coming out from the Punch newspaper and the Daily Post. One of them talking about food crisis, where the defense headquarters has said troops have been deployed across farms in the northern part of the country, especially in the northwest and north central, according to the military high command. The deployment was to ensure the adequate protection of farmers from bandits, terrorists, and other criminal elements. That story is coming from the Punch, and it says that farmers have been a major target for bandits and terrorists who levied them indiscriminately, destroyed their produce, kidnapped, and even killed them in some instances. And according to the tally by our correspondent, in the first quarter of this year, over 332 farmers were killed across the country. This marks a significant increase compared to the same period last year from January to June 2023, when at least 128 farmers lost their lives. Additionally, a recent report by SBM Intelligence said farmers in the north paid an estimated sum of 139 million naira as farm levies to bandits who demanded at least 224 million naira between 2020 and 2023. This comes as Nigeria faces the highest ever food inflation rate recorded at 40.87% by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics in June. Queen, this must be so disturbing. Just a year ago, 128 killed. Now we're looking at double the figure, and 139 million naira paid as levy. It's as good as running the farmers and the country aground.
Yes, it is. And you know, when we talk about food sufficiency, key thing we need to look at when it comes to food sufficiency is security.
True,
because you cannot have food sufficiency without security.
Obviously.
And this has been a long time coming. Farmers have been crying for safety. They've been crying for, particularly where I come from, you can travel.
That's where?
Down. That's Benue State.
Okay.
Benue State.
Just wanted them to. No, just wanted them to.
You can travel a whole community and you find nobody there. People have fled from their villages, from their hometown, because of insecurity. And these people have farmlands, so they are leaving their farmlands for
the bandits
yeah. and you know, kidnappers and headsmen who are attacking them, attacking their farm produce. Let's not even talk about the safety of their lives alone. Let's talk about these people having to farm, and then these cows or whatever animal it is they're bringing to the farm.
Was that what happened in Agua too?
Eat their farm produce, you know, after toiling the whole year, expecting harvest. Some animal comes to your farmland and, you know, destroys it, eats your produce, or, you know, just cause a whole lot of damage for you. And so it's not surprising that that much amount of money is paid for, you know, as levy. It's not surprising. And then we're seeing the food import rates. Yesterday, I and Mike were on the show, and we were looking at the front pages of the papers, and you know, the import rates has skyrocketed. We now import literally things that we can farm, things that, you know, I mean, it's our food. We now import it, and so the import rates has risen and, you know, even tripled. And so a whole lot, you know, needs to be done in terms of security.
But do you think the government is using the right strategy, saying they're sending troops to guard farmers across the northwest? Is that the solution?
I don't think that is effective enough. No. I think that is not long term. And by the way, how many farmers can these troops protect? How many of them can they protect? And we have a whole lot of farmers. We have people who are subsistence farmers, and, you know, people who farm in, you know,
small scale,
and large scale as well. And so, how many of these farmers can you protect? So the issue should be curbing insecurity at its roots. Can we look at the root causes? What, you know, how do we get to this bandit? How do we ensure that there's never a repeat of issues like this? And we've been reassured time and time again that, you know what, we've seen that this happened, and we're working towards it to never ensure that there's a repeat of such incidents. But we've seen the repeats over and over and over again. And so it's high time that we nip it in the bud and not from surface level.
I think it's very sad. This is one of the key things the Nigerian youth did protest about when it had to do with the hunger protest and bad governance. Because this same government we had Bello Matawalle, the Minister for Defense for State, just barely 48 hours ago tell Nigerians that the Nigerian Defense Corporation were already selling arms to countries in the West African region. Nigeria was doing great. But how come we can't stop insecurity in the country? It's very disturbing. And like Queen rightly pointed out, they're playing, that's not the solution. How many farmers? And obviously we know that in Nigeria, these soldiers will only protect the large-scale farmers and not the subsistence farmers, the poor farmers there. So it means we're still getting the job done. It begs the question, does it mean the chief of defense staff or the service chiefs, they've lost ideas on how to go about solving the insecurity in the country? Because when you start deploying soldiers to protect farmers, it's laughable. That seemed the most ridiculous way to solve the insecurity, bedeviling Africa's largest black nation. So we hope the right thing will be done. I think it's almost time for the Global AM News. Are we getting close to that?
No, we'll have to. Well, Global AM News will come at 8
now.
8
so let's run to the next big talking point in terms of all the stories making it out. We're still looking at the papers, and we're still looking at the Punch, and we've got the Daily Post still for review. Let's jump into the education sector, where the academic staff union of universities have cried out against the huge power bills paid by universities in the country, estimated at 275 billion naira annually, following the recent increase in electricity tariff. The national president, ASU, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, called for per-unit billing as the university's power bill rose by 300%, hitting 21.480 billion monthly. In April 2024, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission announced an increase in electricity tariff paid by Band A customers from 68 naira per kilowatt to 225 naira per kilowatt an hour, a 300% increase. The universities are under Band A, where customers enjoy electricity for at least 20 hours daily. However, many of the universities have cried out over the soaring electricity bills following the new policy. Look at, is this going to be realistic? We're talking about universities, already crying out. How can a university pay 20-point-something billion monthly?
That's a whole lot for electricity. and then it's ridiculous.
Where they're going to generate that income. It means
and then even if they have to generate that much income, the whole lot, it's a school setting, it's a school system that money can go into. Yes, so much that it can go into laboratories in the school, halls.
And they're going to bill that to the students, to the parents. But
a whole lot. So that's much on electricity. Nigerians have been complaining about our electricity tariff and how unregulated it is. Because I saw in the news yesterday, I was reading on one of the news sites where a man said he was billed 200,000 naira for a month for electricity, and it doesn't take him 1 week or thereabout. And so he had to spend over 21 million naira on solar.
Oh.
Where he doesn't have to. So he's putting up power grid in his house. He doesn't need.
That's someone who can afford it.
That's someone who can afford it, and because he has done the estimates. And I went through some of the comment sections, and Nigerians are saying that is, while it's laudable, it's very efficient and less expensive. For now, it might look like 21 million naira is a whole lot too, but how many of us can afford it? But for him, he's doing himself more service, as to opting for going green, and getting solar system. But let's talk about those of us that cannot afford 21 million naira now to get solar. How long, if everybody decides to, I'm going to get solar for, that much amount of money, how do we
even half of that amount?
Half of that amount, because yes, there are packages, there are different packages that you can opt in for.
Afford,
yeah, people are going green as well. But if we all decide to run away from the issue of electricity tariff, or those of us who are privileged enough to afford other means of generating power, and we do not talk about it, we do not continue to raise concerns as regards the electricity tariff, things will continue to degenerate. You know, Nigerians we've complained over time. What's the Minister of Power doing to ensure that some of these things are properly regulated? We complained about tariff, and before we knew it, the tariff went 2 times.
I think the only time I hear the Minister of Power, Adelabu, speak is when he's talking about tariff increase or the fact that the government has to remove subsidy and all that. But we still, even the government houses, some like a month ago, we did carry the story that the Kaduna State government building or facility was disconnected because they were owing lots of bills. So if even the state governments are owing and not able to pay the exorbitant tariff, then talk more of universities and Nigerian individuals. And still, this government believes Nigerians do not have a reason to cry out, do not have a reason to protest. Because for me, like Bob Marley say, living in a fool's paradise, and you don't blame them. All they need, they've got constant power, they've got everything to their own beck and call, so they do not know, they don't have an inkling to what Nigerians are going through. And if the universities get shut down because of power issues, you can imagine what's going to happen. The hostels, the stench that's going to be in the hostels, laboratories, research, you know, will not be able to. I'm just even looking at university alone, and that's going to cause a lot of, you know, uproar in the universities. And once students start, you know, protesting, that's going to be another, you know, big call that's going to cause the education sector a lot of issues, because technically the schools will have no option but to bill the students by increasing either the tuition fees or utility bills. Now they're going to pass it to the students are going to pass it to their parents. So you can imagine what's going to happen to the education sector. So we hope the government will do the needful, because before the tariff increase, all 274 universities in Nigeria paid a total of almost 5-point-something million monthly, and so it's not funny at all. All right, we're still looking at what the papers are saying, and hopefully we'll be getting some guests join us in the course of the program. But let's take some more stories concerning the EFCC before we run for a quick break. And we've been told that the executive chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Jalal Arabi, and the commission's secretary, Abdullah Kotongora, are currently in the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over alleged mismanagement of 90 billion naira 2024 Hajj subsidy. Quite recent. It was learned by a correspondent that Wednesday the anti-graft agency said a total of 314,098 Saudi Arabian currency was recovered from NACON chairman and other ranking officials. The EFCC said its investigation revealed that from the 19 billion naira Hajj subsidy, Arabi fraudulently overpaid himself and others the necessary operational costs. Also, according to the document, the approved 2024 Hajj operation costs for the chairman and CEO commission and secretary, directors, and chief of staff of the 2024 budget was stipulated at $4,250 and $12,750 and $3,825 and $15,300 respectively. The anti-graft agency had first grilled Arabi for hours on July 29th and released him on bail. Also last week, Wednesday, some top officials of the Hajj Commission were arrested by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission over alleged mismanagement and diversion of 90 billion naira subsidy. That's 90 billion. This, I thought those in the Hajj Commission are people that should be a little bit even more, when I say holy or more upright, more prudent than those in other ministries. Because when you talk about Hajj, you're talking about visiting, a religious setting, those that are going to the Holy Land. And I'm wondering, you're going to Hajj, you're going to the Holy Land, and you're cheating, siphoning the country's wealth, monies that probably would have gone to other people that would want to visit because government subsidizes for you just.
But Anthony, you see why our expectations we don't have to take so much expectation, especially when it has to do with religious settings, because people who are there are humans as well. So it's not. But yes, but it's
for 90 billion, it's not.
It's a whole lot. But we expect these people who are in these places are same people with our commissioners and our politicians that we talk about. There are same people who are in the Hajj Commission, the same people who are in Cannes, there are same people who are in. But we expect some level of discipline and transparency and sincerity.
This is just 2024. That's why it's.
Yes, it's shocking. It's funny. I mean, but we expect better, knowing that you should know better. These people
at least still with some conscience,
empathy, conscience. Yes. But they're no different from our politicians and all of that. Just to tell you that in every sector, you have people who are true to their faith and those who are there for selfish gains, or those who have not dealt with certain patterns, characters, or attitude that they need to work on. And so just like our politicians, they are of no difference. So.
But we thought when they say politicians, they'll tell you the politicians spent lots of money to get elected, so that's the reason why. But someone who got appointed, you have to also pinch that much.
Money is intoxicating, and you can never tell how far you can go until you have to handle such level of money. Some people's greed don't show when they have to handle it, but when they have, when it's enormous, you begin to see that level of greed. Well, I wish we can expand on this conversation.
And he actually made it very interesting. He made sure every member of his crew got dented so that. All right, it just reminds me of one famous ex-head of state who they said it was always. All right,
Anthony, please let's look at. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we'll look at what the front pages of the papers are saying. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's time for us to bring the front pages of the papers for you, and we're beginning with the Guardian newspaper this morning. On the front page of the Guardian, big story there says, Southwest, 39 dams moribund over poor maintenance and obsolete equipment. We also have World Health Organization declares monkeypox outbreak a global health emergency. 18 die in 3 road crashes along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We can no longer afford further hikes in interest rates, manufacturers warn. Also, government begins implementation of zero duty on selected food items. Yusuf visits vandalized Kano High Court, says sensitive documents on Ganduje stolen. Now this...
All right, very interesting. 39 dams moribund over poor maintenance, obsolete equipment. So it just tells you when it comes to our maintenance culture, very bad. But we know that there are some agencies that are responsible. How come 39 of them moribund? So indirectly, they've not been working. No maintenance on them. And this is just another opportunity for people or government agencies to say we need to bring in X amount of equipment, and the corruption starts all over again. Then for the manufacturers are saying they can no longer go with the hike. And I think it's very disturbing because we have few manufacturing companies operating in Nigeria. So the few there, we're supposed to try to protect them. But if the CBN continues to raise the interest rates, it means they're just technically wanting to kill off the remaining companies in Nigeria, especially the local industries that are just trying to fill in the gap of those companies that have exited Nigeria. Very disturbing.
Really very disturbing. And then I want us to take a look at Governor Yusuf visits vandalized Kano High Court. Say sensitive material of government.
This is very. We always hear that story. We know the snake swallowing lots of money.
Now, and then now we hear that protesters looted his, the documents.
But the funny thing is, how come? Why is it just that person's document that was taken, that specific document? There are lots of cases. So we know they
remember the same protesters in Kano when they went to destroy the state library and took things. These same protesters did not take books, according to reports. They destroyed chairs, did a whole lot of things, but no book
was taken.
Any book, not one book was taken from that library. And so how come these same protesters who are, getting away from taking books can now,
go and pick out. No, there's a specific one. There's a specific document they just picked. So is it pre-planned? Is it that these protesters are learned protesters? And how come while they were searching to see that particular document, nobody caught them until they took that particular document and left? This is laughable. This is just, it tells us why the recent report says judiciary is the most corrupt, agency in Nigeria. So it's very laughable.
And our judiciary needs to do better.
And I wonder how the report, how did they specify? Did they ask that question, which document was taken, and that answer was given? It's very interesting, very interesting.
Those of us in court. And let's look at this story here. It says, party disowns Ebiseni as Labour Party governor candidate in Ondo State.
Yeah, Ondo is always in the news when it comes to politics. Since the death of Akeredolu, we've been seeing a lot of stories. Lucky Aiyedatiwa gone in for a shot again. So it's going to be a very interesting polls in Ondo State. We hope INEC, security agencies, and party members and structures will ensure that we have a very free, fair, and credible election because Ondo State deserves good leadership.
It does. It sure does. Protests. We're sitting on a time bomb, Sule tells northern governors.
I think Sule of Nasarawa State, he seemed to be the one governor that is speaking truth to power. 2 weeks ago, he talked about the fact that Nigerians should hold their state governors responsible because FAC allocation had increased. So citizens should ask their state governors what are they doing with their monies. And he also was one of the first in the northern part to say, I'm going to pay 70,000, I can't pay it. We know that Nasarawa, yes, is a mineral, a state, but the fact that Sule is willing to go the whole hog shows determination, someone who has the interest of his people at heart. And with this also comment, it shows there's something that it means other governors deliberately do not want to pay the minimum wage and are letting their people suffer.
We hope that's not the case, but we can take a cue or two from Governor Sule, who we see most of his inputs and then his truths, the truth that he speaks to power. I think governors need to emulate Governor Sule. We see him all the time making investment summits for young people and people of Nasarawa State as well, and also speaking truth to power. And
the Niger governor too, it looks like the end state, they have some good thing going for them. Governor Bago in Niger also doing a great job there.
Yeah, so we must commend them. Pressure mounts on Tinubu to sack oil sector chief.
It's been a long time coming about Mele Kyari. It's becoming like a family business. And I think he has done enough. We congratulate him for job well done, but there are too many controversies on his head and about his style of leadership and the fact that there seems to be a cartel that is holding the country to ransom, especially when you bring into the equation the Dangote issue. So I think he has done enough. It wouldn't be a bad idea to have change of guards if the government feels is needed, and if those in the industry feel like he's not leading them towards the right direction anymore.
Interesting. So these are the stories we have on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Our next point of call will be the Vanguard newspaper. A big story on the Vanguard newspaper says hurdles ahead of CNG vehicles rollout, according to investigations. Above the nameplate, we have anger greets reps, speakers, withdrawn counter subversion bill. Outrage as Senator Sumaila says he earns 21 million naira monthly. Senate keeps mum. We have on a big story about hurdles ahead of CNG vehicles rollout. Rider there says local mechanics, technicians at sea with technology. Users still unsure of safety. Massive awareness training lacking.
Yeah, CNG, at times it feels like, I don't want to use the word scam, but it seems like a dream never going to come true. They've been promising this like forever, the CNG buses. But someone raised a very salient issue as regards the safety of Nigerians using the CNG buses. We know that our roads are terrible. And you know, when you compress gas into like even a 1% into a can and it hits the road, those bad roads, what it means is going to burst into a flame. So we're just imagining how many lives are going to be lost because a compressed gas into and you hit a very strong impact on it, it's an explosion automatically. So what it means, there's so much lives, so much danger in these CNG gases, and the fact that already even the fuel stations are complaining that converting their fuel station into a CNG gas services, it's quite very expensive, even though the government has said they're going to subsidize the conversion rate for each fuel station. It's still very expensive. We've been promised months ago that it's going to kickstart in different parts of the country, but it's seeming very difficult to happen. Even the buses, we've been promised time. They said even before Democracy Day it was going to come to pass. It's still yet to come to pass. But the dangers of the CNG vehicles is what is optimus now because of our bad roads, and the government is not saying anything about the dangers it portends.
Yeah, true. And you know what? We're quick to want to roll out the next big thing, the next new thing from the government.
And just to score political points, yeah.
Maybe, maybe.
Because that was the action that made the president said, subsidy removed first day of a speech when he had not even set up his cabinet.
True. And, you know, we see this without proper awareness being given.
Yeah.
But first of all, before we begin to talk about the safety of Nigerians, but we should, prior to when the CNG buses arrive, we should begin to talk about moving forward, maintenance, awareness, and all that for Nigerians. But let us not be quick to let the government not be quick to make promises, build anticipation, and then we begin to hear stories here, stories there. We haven't, I think one of the things that we should even focus more on by the way, we're still talking about the issues of electricity tariff and all of that. But I was even talking about, in most parts of the world, we have solar cars. We have electric cars, you know. Why CNG? What are the, you know, measures?
One of the reasons government gave us the fact that Nigeria, because of our crude oil and what we have a lot of gas that it's escaping to the atmosphere, which they want to convert for the good of the country, since we have in excess. But the issue is the security of it. You don't use those kind of on bad roads. That's one danger. And the government what they did is focus on the fact that it's going to be cheaper and put that in front of Nigerians. It's going to be cheaper for you. So and not forgetting the other side of it, yes, the safety part of it, which they don't want to happen because they know if they look at the safety part of it, it's going to be discouraging to Nigerians. And we've got terrible roads, so it's very, very scary. And also the fact that conversion of these from even the cars, to the petrol to gas, it's not also cheap. So it's going to be a very interesting one to see how the government goes through it. But like you said, they've made lots of promises in the past, and there's always this sort of policies. We start today, we stop, we start again. Even the student loan, we saw it play out. It had to be postponed several times. And currently, they're like seeking for even money now to continue the loan, because in the last 48 hours, we had the EFCC did give them 50 billion naira as support. And the question is, when did the EFCC become, how did they get this money? Who gave them this money to donate to the student loan? There's something creepy about that. EFCC is not supposed to be doing such a thing. Where did they get that budget from to be supporting the student loan by giving 50 billion? Where that money, was it monies that were recovered from loot or what? So there are a lot of question marks. So things have not been shady.
When we talk about the EFCC giving out such monies, we also ask questions about how monies that are recovered from traffickers,
where they're kept,
where they're kept, where they go into. So maybe this is one of the projects that these monies go into, it could be. But then let's also hope that concerning the CNG buses, and let's hope that massive awareness campaigns would be carried out to trainings also will be given out prior to when these buses.
Who would they be training? Nigerians?
They'll be training.
Are they going to train all Nigerians?
They'll train the drivers. They'll do awareness, because Nigerians are unsure about the safety of the CNG buses, and so they'll do such campaigns, and also they'll fix bad roads. They'll tell us that, let us know if our fears are valid. Let us know if, like Anthony just mentioned, the CNG buses can thrive, even with bad roads. It won't explode. It's not like your regular gas and all of that. Let's just be in the know. Let's have so much awareness, so much information as regards the CNG.
All right, we hope for the best.
We hope for the best.
Okay, we're looking at other papers.
Let's look at, we still have 2 more papers. Let's look at what the Punch is saying for us this morning. Big story, food crisis. Military deploys troops in Northwest and North Central farms. We spoke about that earlier this morning. Rider says Farmers Association Lord Tinubu says move will boost harvest, tackle food insecurity. Also, we have deployment will grant farmers access to ensure hitch-free planting season, according to the Defense Headquarters. Anthony, what do you make of this big story here?
I think the Defense Headquarters are just speaking because they're the ones doing the deployment. If you ask the question as regards how many farms are they going to deploy these soldiers, which category of farmers are they going to protect? Are they telling me they're going to protect the peasant farmers and the Nigerian farmer who truly needs protection to feed his own family, or they're just going to protect the big farms like the farms of the elites? Are they the farms they are going to protect? How many hours are they going to stay for the farmers to work? And who is going to also provide the logistics for this soldiers to move around? Then after they protect the farmers from planting, when it comes to the harvest time, are they still going to send these farmers down there to help? And the question is, this seemed to be a very funny strategy to improve, food sufficiency. And they've been saying this about sending military men to farmland, and I think it's laughable. There should be better strategies on how to fight insecurity, unless they're telling us they've given up.
You're not a farmer.
Yeah.
The Farmers Association of Nigeria have lauded this move by President Tinubu to ensure that they are being guarded in their farms. So what's your concern?
My
the
concern,
farmers themselves have said that, this is a beautiful initiative.
I remember there was an event you went to cover that had to do with Nigerian farmers, women farmers. And she made a very strong argument that most times when government dole out monies to farmers, those monies and equipment do not go to the real farmers themselves, that they are the farmers. Those monies go to the governor's wives and her cohort, and not the real farmers at the grassroots. It doesn't get to those who really do the farming, but to the big boys and girls who probably have farmlands. It's just like when you talk about these cows and herders we see on the street. Most times they tell you these cows do not belong to those youngsters, you see. The elite have those cows, so that's why it's been hard for them to chase them off the city center. From the Nigeria we know, can the Nigerian army tell me they've got the roll call of Nigerian farmers, their designations or their locations? Let's be sincere. we just ordinarily within the town, the army, the police officers we see, who do they protect? The elite. Have you ever seen them come down from a...
But this is a new development, Anthony. This is a new development to protect farmers. But what we do not know is which of the farmers, are they the subsistence farmers or the commercial farmers?
Same thing, you're going back to where we're going.
But I think it should be the commercial farmers, those who farm in large scale, to be able to ensure that there's food sufficiency for the country. But what happens to the farmer who just farms for himself
and his family and the community?
An average person who just wants to go to the farm and farm for the community, or something to keep their
your state, for instance, the food basket of the nation, Benue State. Are you telling me they're going to send the soldiers to Uju, Otukpo, and all those areas? Is it realistic?
Yeah,
it's not. Even look at the landmass of the country. How many soldiers are you going to? Yeah. So if you send these soldiers to all these places, then who's going to be left to protect our borders and other needs? So it's. I think they just have to be more realistic. The service chiefs should be called to question. Give us a scorecard how far you've done, because it seems they've been left off the hook recently. Nobody talks about the service chiefs. Before now, we had periodic examination of how well they've done. Is there any need to change them? But now it seems they've gone, everybody to his tent and very...
But, I'll keep saying this. While I think that these measures may be cosmetic,
it is cosmetic.
It is cosmetic, having to send troops to farmlands. I don't see how effective that is.
How many troops are you going to send?
How many troops can you send? What happens to the average Nigerians? We're talking about just commercial farmers who are going to be protected. Their farmlands are going to be protected. What about the other farmers? But how many commercial farmers can you protect? Can you guard? Can you send troops to? Do you have the statistics and data of the farmers that we have here in Nigeria? And above all, let us look at nipping things in the bud. Not surface level approach, but grassroots, root cause approach. What is the cause of this insurgency? Can we tackle it once and for all?
And those were the reasons the protesters, some of the things the protesters reeled out, which the government, rather than look at and focus. It's interesting that Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor, did make a presentation to say, okay, $58 million, $38 million, and 40 billion naira were seen in 4 wallets in cryptocurrency. 40 billion contributed in Kanu, Kaduna, and Abuja and Katsina from political actors. But how come they've not been able to trace other monies that have been pushing the terrorism financing in the country? How come Binance executives were able to escape from their grasp? How come they've not been able to extradite that man from Kenya and the prosecution completed? So it just is like more like selective prosecution, selective winning of wars, and it's very laughable that
there are question marks all over, and we hope to get answers. Let's look at what the papers are still saying. We have underneath the nameplate of the Punch still we have 149 Nigerians repatriated from Niger.
Oh boy, even Niger now. Jackpot in Niger. This is very interesting. From Niger.
But why we laugh about it?
No, but it's funny because Niger.
It's a cause for concern.
Yeah, from Niger.
Because why are Nigerians leaving? Why are the youths leaving? And even in Niger, that you
we give power. When we shut our borders, they were crying foul.
And now, repatriating.
This is.
And now repatriating us. It means that there's a whole lot of.
And recently, the federal government says they've got plans to bring about 120,000 medical professionals who had jackpot from the country, and it's very funny. I just feel like at times these guys, they say things, not that they just don't mean it. They don't seem to know the reality of what's happening. Someone who is outside the shores of Nigeria earning better pay, we're secured, their children's education is assured, their security is assured, and with the 10-day protest that just occurred, you're telling me those professionals that would want to come back to a country. It's sad enough that we're saying this about Nigeria, but it's the reality, and we only hope the government would be real in whatever they intend to do, and like you rightly said, not make it cosmetic, don't make it for the cameras, but be real and focus on the issues Nigerians are going through.
Yeah, I think we'll have to take a quick break now, and when we return, we'll bring you the Global AM News. And after that, the conversations on the front pages of the newspaper continues with our guest. Do stay with us.
But by your name, you say global. So global is a big coverage. So you are taking a big name, but you are starting from the scratch. So that big name, by the grace of Almighty Allah, you achieve that. You will appreciate your activities, your reportage, and everything you are doing. Do it with the fear of Almighty God. Step by step, you'll be growing very, very globally. Get your things right and then report rightly. And then inshallah, sky will be your limit.
I want to go further to congratulate you on being on DSTV 365. Yeah, channel 365. It's an awesome thing. Congratulations, and I will enjoy each and every one to keep on watching Global TV.
This is Global TV. For your current affairs, for your current information, ideas, education, entertainment news at the best. Channel 365 on DSTV. You have just come alive into a new phenomenon in the media industry. Keep watching. Stay tuned.
Keep watching Global Television on DSTV channel 365 for your news and all national issues and international breaking news. Watch Global TV.
In an ever-busy world, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
But by your name, you say global. So global is a big coverage. So you are taking a big name, but you are starting from the scratch. So that big name, by the grace of Almighty Allah, you achieve that. We will appreciate your activities, your reportage, and everything you are doing. Do it with the fear of Almighty God. Step by step, you'll be growing very, very globally. Get your things right and then report rightly. And then inshallah, sky will be your remaining.
Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world in AM News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Anthony Momodu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365. 22 more state-owned tertiary institutions have been cleared by the Nigerian Education Loan Fund to apply for student loan. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund has announced that students from the following 22 state-owned tertiary institutions can now apply for loans on its portal. The onboarding of the 22 state-owned institutions brings the total number of approved state institutions to 108. The challenge of insecurity and fragile borders have been identified as factors bedeviling trade in West and Central Africa. The Comptroller General, Nigerian Customs Service, Adewale Adeniyi, made this known in Abuja while handing over to a new Vice Chair of the World Customs Organization, West and Central Africa region. Sharon Ajay has the details.
The Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, who served as the immediate past vice chair of the organization, called for stronger collaboration and partnership between the 24 customs administration within the region. He also tasked the newly elected vice chair to ensure the immediate mobilization of resources to fund the activities of the organization.
All our customs administrations are challenged by issues of fragile borders and insecurity. So we are faced with the challenge of working with other security agencies to ensure our national security. I hand over this baton to the incoming vice chair. I want to charge you to continue to take measures that would pull all our customs administrations together.
The new vice chair, who doubles as the DG Mali Customs, Amadou Cornet, who spoke in French, commends his predecessor for all his efforts while pledging to build on the gains so far achieved. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
The Senate Public Accounts Committee has expressed concern over the persistent non-cooperation of certain ministries, departments and agencies in responding to audit queries raised in the Auditor General's report for the year ended December 31st, 2019. The chairman of the committee, Senator Ahmed Wadada, addressing journalists in Abuja, read a riot act to MDAs that shunned invitations by the Senate. Kikelomo Okere has the details.
The Senate Public Accounts Committee expressed its disappointment with ministries, departments and agencies, emphasizing that their failure to attend public hearing and respond to queries hinders the committee's effort to submit a timely report to the Senate plenary. Senator Wada further warns that the Senate will leave no stone unturned, adding that there is no agency that is above the law.
The committee is very displeased with the attitude of foot dragging by agencies who are by law expected to respond to parliamentary invitations and account for their actions.
He further says failure to appear will attract unpalatable consequences from the committee and the Senate.
Nobody is above the law, and whoever you are, whatever you think you are, Nigeria makes you. So you cannot be greater than Nigeria. And this is Nigeria. The National Assembly is Nigeria. We are sitting on mandate of Nigerians to protect their interest.
The committee reaffirmed its commitment to protecting the interests of Nigerian people and ensuring that public funds are managed with utmost integrity. Among the MDAs identified as non-compliance are the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Mining Cadastral Office, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Nigerian Upstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, among others. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says the contemporary security challenges faces as a nation require trying into the concept of the whole government and society approach to resolve them decisively. The president, who was represented by the secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, at the Made in African Defense Conference and 60th anniversary of Defense Industry Cooperation in Abuja. Sharon Ajay has the rest of the story.
The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ably represented by the Secretary General of the Federation, George Akume, says the significant contribution of DCON over the years and the passion to see the speedy growth of DCON and Nigeria's military-industrial complex was the motivating factor in signing the DCON Act 2023 into law. While commending the efforts of DCON over the years, the president says his administration will invest substantially in DCON to ensure it delivers on its mandate efficiently within the 2030 roadmap timeframe.
Contemporary security challenges we face as a nation require tying into the concept of the whole of government and society approach to resolve them decisively.
Highlighting the significant contributions and achievements of DCON over the past 60 years, the Honorable Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Matawalle, says the recent enactment of DCON Act 2023 by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu marks a turning point in the history of the defense sector, adding that this new legal framework empowers DCON to operate with greater autonomy and efficiency, enhancing its ability to meet the evolving defense needs of our nation.
This new legal framework empowers DICON to operate with a greater autonomy and efficiency, enhancing its ability to meet the evolving defense need of our nation.
While emphasizing the theme of this conference, which is DCON at 60, Future Frontier in African Defense Technology, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, underscores the importance of collaboration and innovation in addressing the complex security challenges facing the continent, adding that the conference is a call to innovate, embrace new technologies, and develop solutions that will ensure the security and prosperity of the nation and continent in the years to come.
A world where the dynamics of warfare and defense are rapidly evolving, it is imperative that we remain at the forefront of technological advancement. As African nations continue to confront threats to peace and stability, it is essential that we work together to enhance our defense capabilities and foster regional cooperation.
The Director General, DCON Major General Edith, says the theme of the conference is a call to reflect on the collective journey and to strengthen ties that bind African countries in common pursuit of building DCON.
Adapting to the dynamic landscapes of military technology and global defense trends. In the early years, our focus was predominantly on the production of small arms and ammunition, meeting the critical needs of our military and other security agencies. However, as the threats facing our nation and region become more complex and contemporary, so too has the interpretation of our mandate. In the 21st century, our projects have become more diverse, encompassing not only military products, but also venturing into civilian applications that leverage on our technological capabilities.
DCON was established in August 1964, born out of the visionary mandate to support and enhance operational capabilities of the Nigerian Armed Forces. The highlight of the event is the launch of DCON new logo and the anniversary book titled DCON at 60, Forging the Pathway to Indigenous. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Mohammed PATE have revealed that no fewer than 67% of Nigerian doctors practice in the United Kingdom. He also stated that Nigerian-trained doctors and nurses are in high demand worldwide, adding that the National Health Service in the UK would struggle if Nigerian doctors withdrew from the scheme. The chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC Northern Governors Forum, Abdullahi Sule, says the just concluded nationwide #End Bad Governance protest was an eye-opener and pointer that the North is sitting on a time bomb. Among others, he said the protests that happened recently, especially to his colleagues from the North, even if anybody wasn't doing anything, they should not be the governors from the North, and said they must respond urgently. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has called for the establishment of a special court dedicated to prosecuting cases of crude oil theft. The Commission's Director of Investigation, Abdul Karim Chukwu, made this call during an investigative hearing by the House of Representatives Special Committee on Crude Oil Theft in Abuja. Chukwu noted that over 400 cases were brought to court in 2019, with an additional 200 cases prosecuted in 2022. He explained that the creation of special courts, along with amendments to the legal framework governing the EFCC, would significantly enhance the agency's ability to combat crude oil theft. The ruling All Progressive Congress has kicked against the removal of the Tony Okocha-led caretaker committee, saying the Rivers State Court lacks the power to take such action. The warning comes a few hours after a Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt nullified the sacking of the Emeka Beke-led executive of the APC in Rivers State. The court, presided over by Justice Sika Akporoku, ruled that the National Working Committee of the party erred in dissolving the elected executive led by Emeka Beke. The judge stated that the APC National Working Committee does not have the power to dissolve an elected executive of the state, nor can set up a caretaker committee when the tenure of the elected executive is still running. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has threatened to embark on a nationwide strike if the abducted colleague, Dr. Ganiyat Popola, is not released by August 26th. The president of NARD, Dr. Dele Abdullahi, made this declaration at a press briefing in Abuja, stating that the association has lost patience with the government inaction over the adoption. Abdullahi stated that following notification of the incident, the association notified all security agencies through official written communication requesting immediate action towards the prompt rescue and release of the incarcerated colleague. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says Nigerian government has signed no fewer than 26 memorandum of understanding with foreign countries and agencies in the last 12 months. The MOUs are in the areas of infrastructure, education, trade and investment, tourism, security, information technology, culture, energy, gas, and sports. The MOUs are valued at over 4.2 trillion naira. The total amount could be higher as the worth of many of the agreement was not specified in the document obtained from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, says the force is on the trail of those responsible for the violent protests across the country. The Inspector General of Police disclosed this at the Nigerian Police Force Youth Summit to celebrate the International Youth Day in Abuja. Kike Lomo Okere tells us more. All right, moving on, the Enugu State Police Command has arrested and charged the suspect Aliyu Sahad with stealing a streetlight pole in the new artisan area of Enugu. This was reviewed in a statement signed by the Enugu State Police Public Relations Officer, Deputy Superintendent of Police Daniel Ndukwe. Sahad was apprehended by the operatives from the New Haven Division following a tip-off about the criminal activity. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has donated the sum of 50 billion naira to support the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. This was disclosed by the Anti-Graft Agency when the fund's Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Akintunde Sawyer, led its management team on a courtesy visit to the EFCC headquarters in Abuja. Sawyer noted that the fund, an initiative of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration, was designed to provide funding for the education of indigent students. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in Jigawa State says it recovered the remains of 2 men from a pond in Birinkudu local government area of the state. The command's public relations officer, Badaruddin Tijani, made this known in a statement issued in Dutse, the state capital. Tijani said the disease identified as Abubakar Alhaji, who is 20, and Abubakar Abdullahi, 25, drowned while crossing the pond on their way to a market in Waza village. The Nigerian Army says its troops have, in a series of coordinated counter-insurgency operations, neutralized 5 terrorists, while 44 others surrendered to the troops in Borno. It said the troops also recovered bombs, arms, ammunition, and rustled cattle, as well as apprehended some criminal suspects during the operations. The troops conducted a raid operation on an Islamic West African province, ISWAP terrorist enclave in the Bama local government area of Borno State. And moving to the foreign scene, a Libyan driver was arrested in the Bish area of Libya for attempting to smuggle 6 undocumented female migrants from Nigeria. The arrest was made during a routine police patrol which intercepted the vehicle and detained the driver. According to Migrant Rescue Watch, an organization that monitors migrant activities, the driver claimed that the women were his family members in an effort to evade arrest. However, authorities saw through the ruse and took the driver and the women into custody. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, says the Nigerian police has apprehended vandals in a blue pickup van loaded with tower members and cables. This was made known in a statement by the General Manager of the Public Affairs at TCN, Ndidi Mba. Mba said the items were allegedly stolen from transmission towers along the Damboa-Maiduguri 132 kilovolt line. You're watching Global AM News coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. When AM News returns, federal government offers MSMEs 15% logistics services discount. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcasts of AM News. The federal government has traced at least 83 billion in cryptocurrency and fiat money channeled towards the recent nationwide protests. They include $15 million of cryptocurrency and $38 million of which were blocked in 4 cryptocurrency wallets and 4 billion naira contributed by various political actors in Abuja, Kano, Kaduna, and Katsina. This was part of a presentation by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu at the inaugural meeting of the Council of State convened by President Bola Tinubu at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. The federal government has taken delivery of 70 hybrid jet mover buses from the Jet Motor Company in a bid to enhance the country's transportation sector. The Nigerian automobile manufacturer made this disclosure in a statement. The buses, which operate on compressed natural gas and premium motor spirit, are expected to provide affordable and comfortable transportation for Nigerians. As part of efforts to improve business conditions, expand sales, and lower operational costs for small and medium enterprises in Nigeria, the federal government, through the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, has offered a 15% discount on logistics to help small businesses cut their transportation expenses. This initiative, in partnership with the Nigerian Postal Service, aims to enhance business conditions, boost sales, and reduce operational costs, and will commence on August 26th. The Director General of SMIDEN, Dr. Charles Odili, made this known while signing a memorandum of understanding with the Postmaster General of NIPOS, Mrs. Tola Odeyemi, on Wednesday in Abuja. The Port Harcourt Refining Company, a refinery under the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited in Rivers State, has again failed to commence operations after about 6 postponements. It was observed that promises made to Nigerians by the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources and NNPC about the refinery have continued to witness multiple failures. In July, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC, Mele Kyari, stated categorically that the refinery would come into operation in early August. On the foreign scene, British annual inflation rose back above the Bank of England's target in July, official data showed. The Consumer Prices Index rose 2.2% last month, compared with a 2.0% gain in June. The Office for the National Statistics said in a statement, it means overall prices are rising faster than the Bank of England's 2% target, although an increase was widely predicted. And moving to Japan, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida announced he will step aside next month, ending a 3-year term plagued by low popularity ratings and spluttering economy. The ruling Liberal Democratic Party, which has governed almost uninterrupted for decades, is due to hold a leadership contest next month, with the winner to become Prime Minister. Kishida says he will not seek re-election as party chief. Former chairman of the Gombe Football Association, Shuaibu Ahmed Garagombe, has seriously warned the Minister of Sport Development, John Eno, from interfering in the elections of the various sports federations. The fiery sport critic spoke against the backdrop of the minister threatening to rid the federations of officials who are not adding any value to sports development following the country's abysmal outing at the 2024 Olympic Games concluded in Paris, France. While frowning on the wastage of ₦9 billion budget, Gara reasoned that the minister's plan could attract the wrath of the various international bodies which the federations are affiliated to. He warned the minister not to interfere in the electoral process but should ensure the key positions are filled by the right people. The Premier League has announced a significant change of VAR ahead of the 2024-2025 season. VAR has been in place in the English top flight since the 2019-2020 campaign, and there have been some controversial incidents in the ensuing period. Last season, Nottingham Forest criticized VAR on X after decisions went against them during a game against Everton. However, the Premier League is now taking steps as they attempt to address those issues. Following the announcement, the change has been met by a mixed response from fans. The Premier League has launched a new account on X which will provide near-life explanations to refereeing decisions. And moving to Spain, Sadiq Umar's time with La Liga outfit Real Sociedad may be coming to an end after his Spanish publication confirmed that the club are ready to sell the striker, setting a 20 million euros asking price. Earlier in May, the striker requested to leave Sociedad following another turbulent season with the Basque club. It's been a difficult 2-year spell for the Super Eagles striker since joining the club from Almeria during the 2022 summer for 20 million euros. The bright lights of Stadium Narodow in Warsaw will shine on Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman on the quest to etch his name alongside some of Nigeria's footballing greats on the precipice of history while leading Atlanta's attack against the formidable Real Madrid in UEFA Super Cup. With a short and exclusive list of Nigerian footballers who have graced this prestigious stage, Lookman has the chance to join the elite club, one that has seen only 3 of his compatriots lift this coveted trophy. That's it on AM News, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on DSTV Channel 365 and StarTimes Channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I am Anthony Momodu. Thank you for watching.
But by your name, you say global. So global is a big coverage. So you are taking a big name, but you are starting from the scratch. So that big name, by the grace of Almighty Allah, you achieve that. You will appreciate your activities, your reportage, and everything you are doing. Do it with the fear of Almighty God. Step by step, you'll be growing very, very globally. Get your things right and then report rightly. And then inshallah, sky will be your limit.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on global television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, this is business.
Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jumaine Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and a repeat every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
I want to go further to congratulate you on being on DSTV 365. Yeah, channel 365 is an awesome thing. Congratulations, and I will enjoy each and every one to keep on watching Global TV.
This is Global TV. For your current affairs, for your current information, ideas, education, entertainment news at the best. Channel 365 on DSTV. You have just come alive into a new phenomenon in the media industry. Keep watching. Stay tuned.
Keep watching Global Television on DSTV channel 365 for your news and all national issues and international breaking news. Watch Global TV.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofrebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Is the desk on Global Television?
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momodu on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are the Palestinians. We are the Canaan because
that this country gets it right.
Who are these bandits? It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex.
Busy road, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
But by your name, you say global. So global is a big coverage. So you are taking a big name, but you are starting from from scratch. So that big name, by the grace of Almighty Allah, you achieve that. You will appreciate your activities, your reportage, and everything you are doing. Do it with the fear of Almighty God. Step by step, you'll be growing very, very globally. Get your things right and then report rightly. And then inshallah, sky will be your remaining.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on global television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk Sports with the King of Sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point. This is business.
Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jumaine Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and a repeat every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
I want to go further to congratulate you on being on DSTV 365. Yeah, channel 365 is an awesome thing. Congratulations, and I will enjoy each and every one to keep on watching Global TV.
This is Global TV. For your current affairs, for your current information, ideas, education, entertainment news at the best. Channel 365 on DSTV. You have just come alive into a new phenomenon in the media industry. Keep watching. Stay tuned.
Keep watching Global Television on DSTV channel 365 for your news and all national issues and international breaking news. Watch Global TV.
All right, welcome back from the Global AM News. Time for us to look at a very interesting talking point as we discuss the state of the nation. Under the state of the nation, we'll be looking at the issue of human rights protection and also expression. Then we'll also be looking at searching for the Ariwolo's successor, talking about the Chief Justice of Nigeria as tomorrow. The CJN will be looking to exit office approximately towards the end of August, but by tomorrow the NJC will be looking to find someone who's going to be stepping into his shoes. Also we'll be looking at the implication of that, and also be extracting, achieving gubernatorial polls, achieving a very credible polls at the state level, what is needed to ensure that governorship polls at the state level is always free, fair, and credible. And for those who have been at the tribunal, what it takes to get a very credible judgment at the tribunals. Will also be putting a searchlight on all those issues. My guest on today's edition is Gerard Kachi, who is a human rights activist, and will be helping us look at this talking point on today's edition. Kachi, thank you for making it to the studios.
Yeah, very good morning to you and to wonderful people, our viewers.
Okay, let's begin with, in terms of talking about human rights. How would you describe the state of human rights in the country? Some have said this present administration seems to be infringing more on the rights of Nigerians in terms of their policies.
Oh, yes.
And decisions that have been taken the last 1 year.
Well, the state of human rights in Nigeria today is a very unfortunate reality we are facing with regards to obtaining, sustaining, promoting human rights. If you recall, just as recent as few weeks ago, the issue of protest Nigerian youth going to the streets, we saw how the government of the day, tried to suppress, brought out different kinds of propaganda, in order to stop the protests. Even the propaganda continues. Even as yesterday, there were rumors and the reports of sponsors of the protests, being given, I think, $37 million or $38 million, as the case may be, that is very, very unsubstantiated, that cannot be proven. We saw how most of our comrades were even taken in a comrado style. Comrades like Michael Lenin, Sodiq, Angel, and many others that we are, being whisked away by National Security Advisor. We have not had it like this. Even during the military junta, military days, they still have even more respect to human rights observation than what we are facing today. So the records are there. It's nothing to write home about with regards to observation of human rights in Nigeria today.
All right, but some people have said the issue of human rights is vice versa, in as much as Nigerians have the rights. Also, where their right ends is where the other person's rights begins. And for this government, they will do all they can to protect the
rights
nation,
of every citizen,
and also the unity of the country. Don't you think, in as much as Nigerians or some civil right activists like yourself and others at times go overboard with their activities?
There's nothing like going overboard with activities. Of course, I quite agree with you with regards to where one's right ends is where another right begins. If you look at what happened with regards to the recent protests, can any Nigerian say that his right has been violated with regards to the civil protests, peaceful protest that was carried out on the street? In fact, at a point, people that benefited in the protests in the past, that used the instrument of protest, to force government of the day then, to change policies that are anti-people, are the ones that are suppressing protests. Today, here in Abuja, we experience minister like a honorable minister like Nwike, who protested as a governor, sitting governor in Rivers State. He carried that protest to police command at Port Harcourt. We saw it. There was no restriction. There was no suppression. There was no humiliation. But he obtained court order against our protests and asked our protesters to go to the stadium, which they did. Even in that stadium, they were tear gassed. Where can you see such a thing? You ask people not to protest on the street. Even the unity fountain that was created for such purpose, we are locked. You ask them to go to a national stadium, they go to national stadium. Even at national stadium, you still tear gas them. It doesn't tell well. Now, if we are talking about infringing on other people's rights, the pro-government protesters that support policies that we see as anti-people, that has not helped to grow our economy so far. Throughout the period they carried out their protest before the commencement of the protest as at August 1st, there was no infringement. There was no intelligent report that their own protest will be hijacked. Even when we carried out protest to make a demand, Because the protest is a feedback to the nation, is a feedback to the government. That what you are doing is not really going by what they are telling you there. Now, even when we carried out that protest, they still organize pro-government protesters to come to the National Stadium to counter what we are doing. You understand? So it's just like giving a dog a bad name in order to hang it. So carrying out peaceful protest has not infringed on anybody's movements or rights or whatsoever. The ideas you hear that maybe hoodlums or hijackers as portrayed, you understand, certainly has never come from peaceful Nigerians. It's always something that is being planned. We saw videos, clips in social media where people were claiming that they were paid 5,000 naira.
All right, the National Security Advisor did come out with a presentation showing that monies were paid to those who organized this protest, and civil society organizations have in the past been accused of getting funding from foreign counterparts to instigate trouble in countries. Can you boldly say those organizers of Take It Back Our movement didn't get funding from outside the shores of the country, and some of them have been arrested, and they have admitted to that?
Well, I am not a member of Take It Back movement, but be that as it may, he who alleged must be able to prove. That's what our law says. If you claim that they're being sponsored, who sponsored them? You know, if you recall, it appears like anything you build on propaganda, you need more propaganda to sustain it. And that is what we are seeing in the present administration. Take, for example, before the protests, there were a lot of propaganda that were being pushed to the Nigerians, especially to the gullibles, that the protest is either being sponsored by Obedience, P2B, IPOP, El Rufai, Gumis, and so on and so forth, name it. You know, it's just like, trying to hook one person or the other with regards to people expressing their dissatisfaction with regards to some of the policies that are causing hardship in the land. What are some of the challenges that make people to be on the streets? Hunger, hardship is a reality. It affects anybody irrespective of where you belong. Whether you're a PC member, you're a politician, you're not a politician, everybody is suffering it, except the ruling class. So the idea of trying to, paint it in another way so that it will look as if anybody is antagonizing another person. No. We all want a better nation, including the president. If, as the president, is doing something, and we, the people that are the followers, are saying, Oga, Daddy, Papa, this thing you are doing this way is affecting us this way. That's the essence of this. It's a kind of feedback mechanism. Getting back results, telling you that what you are doing is not translating to what you intend to do. So you can find a better way to do it. And at the same time, we proffer solutions to some of the challenges.
Okay, let's look at in terms of foreign support. How do this foreign support come in terms of finances?
There's no foreign support as far as I'm concerned. The knowledge I have, maybe if they think there's any foreign support, they should be in better position to tell us the foreign support.
How was the money generated to get mobilize Nigerian youth and all that?
One thing there is this: you can't beat a child and ask the child not to cry. You understand? If people are dissatisfied with what you are doing, they can voluntarily be on the street. You see, the protests took place in almost all the states.
Well,
more than 70% of the states.
By a group of people, wasn't it?
It was mobilized, coordinated by different organizations.
Wasn't funds part of the mobilization?
Well, it's a voluntary fund. And that fund can be in form of donations from the members, in form of levies. There are organizations that on a monthly basis, they have stipends they pay to sustain the organization. So it's not issue of a foreign machinery or foreign donors, anybody coming into it. You're just trying to paint it black. Now, talking about flags that being waved, there has never Nigeria at war with Russia to start with. Nigeria is not at war with any country.
So are you saying it was right for other flags to be hoisted in the country?
Even as I'm coming, I saw a lot of vehicles passing with different flags. You go to hotels, you go to schools, you go to churches, you see different flags flying. Does that constitute being patriotic? You know, the way we try to interpret things just to, demonize civil, Noble and Clarendon push for a better nation. Marvels, people like us, marvels our imagination. You understand? If maybe you see people like us are saying these policies are not working, what we expect you to do is to bring superior argument in most civil and human manner. Look at this thing you think is going this way. This is actually not the way it is. But trying to demonize it.
But we've got a legal persons, those in the judiciary, Femi Falana and others, condemned the fact that foreign flags were hoisted during the protest, as suggesting that these countries have a hand or are in support of causing disorder in Nigeria. These are lawyers who also, their job is to protect human rights, and they're condemning the same action, and you're saying the opposite.
I'm not saying the opposite. And I've never heard or seen our senior comrade Femi Falana condemning anybody carrying flag.
No, he condemned the fact that those foreign flags were hoisted during the protest.
It's all right, if that is the case. But to me, flags, we see flags on a daily basis. If you go on the streets, see vehicles passing by, you see different flags in that vehicles. Does that constitute being patriotic? You go to public areas like hotels, schools, places of worship, you see different flags being hosted. Does that constitute being patriotic? So let's tone it down. Let us stop pursuing the messengers and concentrate on the message. We all are for a better nation. We all are striving for a good nation that we can be proud of. And that is the aim and objective. That is the primary concern. It shouldn't be the messenger or trying to demonize or suppress voices, making people to live in fear. It becomes what a fellow of good memory will say, suffering and smiling. You want to suppress people that you decide when they cry and when not to cry, how to cry. You be somebody, and you suppress somebody, you are trying to force the person on when to react and how to react. It doesn't happen anywhere, except maybe those that have zero conscience.
Okay, let's look at, in terms of human rights, would you say the rights of Nigerians have been abused with what played out in the last protest?
Obviously, some of our comrades are still there. In our constitution today, I think section 35 or thereabouts, as amended, Nigerian Constitution, 1999 Constitution, he said that he gives the minimum hours you can hold somebody before you charge him to court, at least 24 to 48 hours. And so far, we have had some of our comrades that have been there for more than 1 week. Some have been there for more than 2 weeks. They have not been charged to any court. That's an infringement. It's an obvious infringement. So if you think they have committed any crime, charge them to court. You have them. Why still detaining them without trial? It's an infringement. It's a violation of their right. And these are some of the things we are saying. If you think somebody has violated, or breached any laws of the land, once you get the person, take the person to court. Let the courts be the arbiter. Let them be the ones to decide the fate of the person. You can't keep somebody incarcerated and at the same time be, alleging or accusing the person of doing wrong. Because they don't have that right, they don't have that power, they don't have that jurisdiction to know who is wrong or right. It's the only court that will decide that.
Okay, but so far, the Nigerian police force is still saying they are at the trail of those who orchestrated these protests. Do you think the security forces are not being fair in terms of their mode of operations, and the fact that they're still hunting down the organizers of this protest rather than seek for dialogue?
Well, it's unfortunate, when the protest started, I must say that Police institution is not something that you can categorize into individual practices. Some of the police officers were professionals in their conduct. If you look at some states like Edo, at the beginning of the protests, even Lagos, we saw some level of professionalism, the way they handled things, the way they organized things. Even at a point, they were offering a bottled water and sachet water to some of the protesters. It goes to show that we all are in this together. We all are in this together, for a better nation. But a situation whereby it becomes obey the last order, suppress them, disperse them, throw tear gas on them, canisters and other things like it goes against the norms and caprices of a human right. You understand? Protest is a fundamental right that you can't take away from any human being anywhere in the world. So any act of suppression against protest is an infringement. Any act of suppression, provided that protest is seem peaceful, it's not infringing on any other person's right, you try to disperse it, it's an infringement on his own.
Okay, so let's look at how do you think these persons now can seek justice in terms of the fact that the judiciary, do you trust the judiciary or the civil society organization, what is being put in place to ensure the release of these already arrested protesters?
We are making effort, frantic effort, to see that some of our comrades like Michael, Aderemoye, Sodiq, Moses, Angel, and many others that are being detained in different places. We are making effort to see how they can be released. We are using both a political and human face to approach it. Just yesterday, there were press conference with regards to this, to see how they can be released. Maybe the next line of action may be using a legal tool, but we know that efforts have been made, even including our comrade FF, Femi Falana, have reached out to these authorities to see how these guys can be, freed with regards to the incarceration they have been put in, But then, talking about faith in the judiciary, our judiciary today is something that one cannot hit his chest and say that he's proud of. Just recently, a few days ago, we saw a rating organized by the United Nations together with Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. And at the end of the day, we are informed that judiciary is the most corrupt institution in Nigeria. So it doesn't tell well about our judiciary, especially when it comes to election tribunal and what have you. You understand? If you look at the issues of our just 2020, one of our comrades was shot at the Beggar roundabout, a journalist, while covering Shiite protests. And from that period, we started struggling for justice up until last year. That is 4 years after we got judgment in court. This is 1 year plus after that judgment. We have not been able to enforce it. We are still struggling to at least enforce that judgment. It goes to tell you a lot about our judiciary. And that period when our comrade was shot in Berger, few months later, a citizen of America was killed in the United States. In less than few months, we saw the way both the president, the state where the person was killed by the police, the way they reacted, the justice that was meant, the way even the president went and apologized to the family and the girl child that was left on behalf of the citizens, on behalf of the country. They apologized to the family that suffered the loss. But here we are still struggling. So it's one too many. You understand? You look at the issue of NSAS protests. We still have NSAS protesters that still carry police bullets in their leg as we talk today. We still have the victims that one of them hand has been amputated. You see, still people have been disfigured. So issue of judiciary in Nigeria is not something that we can hit our chest and say, okay, we are proud of. But then I believe there are rules for improvement and hope cannot be lost.
All right, let's just quickly look at, as we look at the state of the nation, let's just quickly look at the issue of what's looking at achieving gubernatorial posts that is coming in Edo, Ondo, and even for the ones that have already held with dispute at tribunals that have been to the appeal court. And now let's look at achieving credible elections at the state level. Is it possible, especially when you cast your mind back to previous elections that are still having issues in the court? Let's just zero in into Kogi State. What do you think is really playing out?
It's unfortunate that we are where we are, but then I pray we don't experience a shipwreck with regards to our electoral system, electoral processes, roads to ascending power in Nigeria. We zeroing down on Kogi State. I participated in Kogi State. Our organization participated as the election observer. And in Edo and Ondo, we also participate. But in Kogi, in question, what is playing out so far is not encouraging. It portends danger, a serious danger. You recall that period to general election last year, our electoral act was amended by the previous, I think, Ninth Assembly. And a lot of amendments were made. Rules were given with regards to moving from smart card reader to BVAS, and so on and so forth. And in that election, general election, before general election, we had a Osun State election. They went to tribunal, appeal to Supreme Court. That is Adeleke Oyetola. During tribunal and appeal, there were judgments in favor of the APC, which is Oyetola, who was, I think then he was either a sitting governor before he was defeated by Adeleke. There were judgments in his favor until they got to Supreme Court. What are the discussions in the court? They were talking about beavers, overvoting. Had they gotten to Supreme Court, they said that those beavers, APC were not able to tender those beavers and play it out in the court. Now you come to general election. Similar thing played out at the Nasarawa State Tribunal. That is between I think the PDP candidates and the APC candidate, who is the incumbent governor now. Similar thing played out. Now, at Kogi State election, Electoral Act, I think section 51, subsection 2, makes it clear that any polling unit in an election period, any polling unit that you see votes has more number than the accredited number of voters, the presiding officer of that particular unit should cancel such an election. And we saw it played out in Kogi as an observer. We saw results already written from EC8A.
That's a form already filled?
Yes, result form.
Already
filled before even people start
casting their
vote. It happened in Ogorimagongo.
Ogorimagongo.
Yes.
Is it because of the location of the place that it's riverine or what? How come it was?
I know I cannot really tell because I'm not from Kogi, but I don't think that place is a riverine area. But then, not just in Ogorimagongo, we saw what happened in Adavi. You know, the same Electoral Act said that you don't allow materials of partisans in a polling unit. But we saw a polling unit where they have campaign office, APC flag hoisted, written the campaign team, and I'm not supposed to be, but the videos are there, the pictures are there. It is happening. Now, during the collection, we are at the collection center. We saw that what the number of our field observers recorded as accredited voters is different from the result they were being announced.
Why did we know that party agents are always there for all the political parties? Are you saying the party agents of the SDPA, the PDP, and other parties,
the
Labour Party,
they protested? In fact, one of them were thrown out at the collection center.
When you say thrown out, what do you mean?
He was, protesting.
Who threw him out? Was it INEC officials or security?
Not, I think it was a combined team of INEC, I think a security team and people that were meant to calm the place down. And also, I think some other agents that those kind of partial system is favoring also help push him out. You understand?
Even when the election observers were there.
We don't have much. We are only to observe and then pushing our report. We are not there to monitor or interfere. Ours is to observe. And that is what we did. You understand? Now, coming to the tribunal going on so far, it has been proven beyond reasonable doubt that there were issues of overvoting. But the tribunal and the appeal so far are relying on technicalities, which portends danger. The danger it portends is that if such illegalities are allowed to stand, simply put it together, it means if you are contesting for election, make sure that you are being pronounced winner in whatever manner you want to do it. I know what that means. It's a direct invitation to anarchy. If everybody that is going for election is making sure that he's being pronounced winner with all in any manner, ignoring the electorate, because one, with the way we are going with our judiciary and the judgment they are being pronounced, is causing vote apathy. People are losing interest with regards to exercising their franchise, civic franchise. Because whenever election comes now, majority of the people will tell you they already know who will win.
But when you said
so, that impression is already not good for our nation.
But when the agents protested, were INEC officials were not there to collaborate what they were saying, that the numbers being announced were not the numbers that were already collated?
Well, it's an unfortunate thing because that particular night, INEC made a release. They released, I think, a communication that there are issues of overvoting, that in next 24 to 48 hours, they will look at it and possibly see how they can, possibly use the electoral act to see either they call for re-election or whatever in those rerun in those areas. But then, while that circular was going on, the team that we are to, collect the results and to make an announcement decided to go ahead. And we are citing that the number of...
the observers, didn't you people also try to make your voices heard as regards the fact that there was something amiss?
In such situation, you can only, express your feeling, but there's nothing you can do. You can make suggestions, you can make your opinion, you can make your voice to be heard, but there's nothing you can do. Because what they were citing is that the gap with which the person that was declared winner was leading, and the a vote that is expected to come from those areas of dispute are quite different. So they went ahead with declaration. But at the tribunal, with regards to some of these local government in contest, I think Adavi, Lokoja, Okene, Okehi, I can't recall all of them, but then they have been able to bring these beavers in question, play it out, screenshot it, and prove beyond reasonable doubt that issue of overvoting actually took place. But then, instead of relying on the facts, the courts are relying on technicalities, which portends danger. It's just a seed that we are sowing that we don't know who. Just something happened 3 years ago. In one of our campaign program, we use it. A contractor here in Nigeria had only one son, and he was mobilized here in Abuja to do a road project. Now he connived with those who sponsored the project. The money was, how things like that do happen. The son was clean abroad, so he was using the money to, support the son. Eventually, the son returned for, I think, NYSC or something like that. Returned back and went for clubbing. After clubbing with one of the latest, I think, Camry or thereabout, coming back from club at night. The same road that he was meant to walk That was where the son had accident and died. Wow. The man, as of today, is on a wheelchair. You see, nemesis and karma has a way of coming back. Whether you are benefiting today or you have somebody that is benefiting from it, it has a way of coming back. So whatever we are sowing today, maybe because of patronage, because of interest, because of what we benefit, has a way of coming back to haunt. So what our judiciary are doing, honestly speaking, I fear for our country. And over the years, we have seen Supreme Court, make a lot of interventions, that has strengthened our democratic system so far. We saw the case in the Rivers State where Amechi was returned after winning primaries, and he was aligned by people who doesn't like his face. Celeste Umeha was put in. We have seen a lot of cases over the years. What Supreme Court did. I believe in this circumstance, they will do the needful and possible restore hope, faith, and trust in the electoral system.
Looking at the peculiarity, yes, we're looking at the Edo-Ondo elections coming up, but looking at Kogi as a flashpoint, is there a guarantee we're going to get, so to say, if you want to use the word justice, or get a different verdict, knowing fully whether the appeal court and the other tribunal has already ruled in favor of the ruling party, and looking at the relationship that seemed to be between Mr. President and that state, and the fact that it's the ruling party in that that is in power, do you see any shift, any likely shift?
Well, in Nigeria, everything is possible, and
against the ruling party.
Ruling party in the past have lost stakes. I think as at 2019, there was a judgment that even disqualified the entire candidacy, I think in Zamfara. It also happened in Rivers State, even when APC were in charge. So it's not issue of whether ruling party or relationship with the state or even at with the judiciary. But I think decision to make or not to make in the case of Kogi at the Supreme Court has a lot to do with our electoral system in the future. It's as simple as that. And it affects both the person that ruled and the person, whoever that he favors or whoever he goes against. It has a lot to do. But then, as it stands today, even if you call for election today, the number of people that will come out will be less than what came out in 2023. If you call for general election. In fact, it will reduce even more than 60% of what people that came out in the last general election. That's because they are losing faith, they are losing trust in the system. And at the end of the day, when you discover some of irregularities and take it to court that is supposed to be last hope of the common man, they will use technicalities over facts. You understand? They will, it's fact, it's demoralizing that it may get to a point, people may decide to be looking for justice themselves, and it may strengthen the push for jungle justice, which we kick against, which we campaign against.
The tribunal and the appeal court has already ruled that the SDP candidate and the Labour Party, they didn't have enough to convince the court that their cases, what they presented was not good enough.
I think the summary of their ruling
is the judiciary rather than the parties that could not able to convince.
I try to compare the Nasarawa State Tribunal up to Supreme Court, Governorship Gubernatorial Tribunal up to Supreme Court. I compare it to Osun State. Similar things played out, and that is what is playing out now. What are they saying at the lower court, Tribunal and Appeal, that is not foreclosed those things they presented, which is almost impossible. Which is almost impossible to do that. Who will do that? Is it INEC? That is a party in the suit.
So what are the likely chances of looking at the stronghold and the influence of the present governor of the state?
Well, it's a 50-50 thing.
Because do you think he has influence on the judiciary and the whole process?
Of course, he's a sitting governor. But then you must understand that even those that are contesting the results, or the parties that are contesting the results, within them, all of them know who actually win and who actually lose. So it's issue of consciousness, you know. I think to be a politician in Nigeria, it appears like one has to zero his conscience, and that will be very bad. It's telling bad on our system. And that is why you see people outside the shores of these countries looking at us as people that maybe we come from another species of human being. Because there are no consequences for these evils, for these bad behaviors. He continues to repeat himself again and again. And once he continues to repeat himself, what he does is that he keeps weakening the trust, faith people have on their leadership.
Some statistics has been going online as regards some of the numbers of the elections statistics. How come these statistics were not presented to the tribunal and to the appeal court? How come it's now when it's time to head into the Supreme Court?
I doubt if it were not presented, because the information, as at the time we tried to find out what was going on over there, we discovered that they tendered almost over 500 beavers in some of these local governments that were in contention. So the issue of they were not presented, just like I said, they were presented, and there were proofs that there were issues of overvoting. But then, they were relying on technicalities, which is a case to even what we experienced in the general election. Technicalities. You know, you leave the message and be looking for message. It doesn't help our system. It doesn't, because if our ship wrecks, everybody will suffer it, and that is what the future is looking very bleak with the way we are going. Because if we continue to finding technicalities to support evil, believe in me, what we may end up in the near future, 2027, 2031, and so on and so forth, will be everybody will be determined to be declared in whatever ways or means. They will be determined irrespective of damages they will cause. Just declare me. You know the latest saying in town? Somebody will step on your toe, infringe on your right, and ask you to go to court. That impression alone is not good for our collective coexistence. Meaning that even if you go to court, you will not get justice. And it's very wrong. And at the end of the day, when you go to court, to exercise that right, to seek for that justice as the last hope of common man, the impression you get there will demoralize even those that may be infringed, their right will be infringed upon in future, to seeking redress in that area. So that is why our judiciary has everything to remedy the situation we have found ourselves today, especially Supreme Court. With regards to the Kogi we are using as a case study to others, whatever they decide or they may not decide has a lot to do with our survival and the future elections.
Do you think or do you agree with the school of thought that believe that if the other two contending parties, talking about Labour Party and SDP, if they had joined forces or if they tried to compromise the judiciary, they might have gotten away with that? Do you agree with? And is there such moves?
Joining forces is not. I'm not a member of any of the parties, you understand? But joining forces is not even the issue, whether you join forces or not. What we are saying here is this: if wrong is established, tackle it.
What if the judiciary has said they didn't see any valid, whatever they had presented in the past was not valid enough to obtain the fact that Usman Ododo is the executive governor of Kogi State. So
whether Usman Ododo is executive governor or whoever that is executive is not the issue. If, for example, Tony,
he has been declared the winner.
Yes, I wish him well, and he's doing very well as a governor.
Okay,
so far. But then, let's establish this fact. If I give you something and tell you this thing is 10, I close it and give it to you, and you come and count it, you discover that it's 5. No matter how wonderful the thing is, does it tell well about me?
It shows you're fraudulent.
I wrap something and I handed it over to you and tell this thing is 10. And based on the 10 I have given to you, you presume that it's 10 based on trust. And you make your calculation and plans towards 10. And you open it, discover that it's 5. Does it tell good?
Okay, so where are you driving at now?
So the process that brought whomever to power should be very important. If you obtain leadership by fraudulence,
shouldn't we hold INEC responsible rather than the person who has been brought to power? Because INEC is the center point of this process.
There are no perfect system or perfect organization. INEC are human beings. They can make mistakes. And that is why you have rooms for corrections. And those rooms for corrections, we all know is a judiciary. And the situation where you approach that place, you believe you get justice, that is believed to be last hope of common man. And they begin to tell you technicalities. And when they gave you that, why didn't you count it? Why would you trust something that was wrapped and given to you? Even what color was it? The person that gave you the thing, why didn't you store the person and cross-check? Does it take away the fact that what was actually in the content is 5 against 10 that was announced to you? So the issue of facts is being relegated with regards to technicalities. And that is what we are seeing in our court today. And it does not tell good. It portends danger. It portends serious danger that's maybe even bigger than Boko Haram we are fighting for years now. Because if every politician, every state, every local government, every ward comes with this destructive mind of declare me winner, it's because they do or die.
All right, let's...
So we are treading on a dangerous trend. And I believe we still have opportunity to correct it. I believe in the Supreme Court because they have done it in the past. I pray that they will do the right thing. You see, there were judgments they passed some years back in Imo State, where a contestant that took 4th was declared first.
Are you talking about Hope Uzodinma?
Hope Uzodinma. We saw how...
Weren't reasons given?
Whatever reasons you are given. Even if you want to do such a thing, there are better ways you can do it better. You may not necessarily declare the pay. You may call for a run. There are better ways you can do things. At least people will see you in a good light. There are decisions you will take. Even common man on the street that did not go to any formal of any school will look at you as a biased person. Judiciary are not supposed to be biased. Technicalities in law show that you are biased. You know this thing was actually right, but because of technicalities, you are sitting to the level. It doesn't help us. So I believe Supreme Court have everything to salvage and remedy already bad situation. We find ourselves in the electoral system, and that will give hope to what is to come in Edo, Ondo, Anambra, and other off-cycle elections that are coming up, including the general elections. Because if we don't get it right, let there be consequences for bad behavior. If you don't get it right, going forward to other elections, only God knows what will happen. Because it will be who is most brutal gets declared. And it will not be good for us. And we don't pray for such.
Can you liken what the Presidential Tribunal and what's playing out in Kogi? Are there any form of similarities?
There are no similarities. There are no similarities with regards to issue of numbers. At the Presidential Tribunal, most of the contestants, we are busy looking at qualifications, certificates, you are this, you are that, leaving the main thing. You understand? Most of the things they presented there were pre-election issues.
Matters, yeah.
You understand? In this regards of Kogi, it's centered on what happened on that day. In the field, I think November 11th, thereabout, 2023, if I recall the dates right. It's centered on what happened that day. If you are telling me that polling unit A, you were the voter strength, the entire voter strength is 400, and those who collected their PVC is 390, and the 390 comes to vote, and in that 390, 385 voted for you, and there's no way 385 will vote for you without going through BVAS for accreditation, and you go for the accreditation of that polling unit A. Accreditation, BVAS is telling you that the number of persons that call for accreditation is less than 100. That less than 100 is supposed to cut across all the parties that contest, including invalid vote. What do you tell about that? The evil there is more than even the Boko Haram, because it steals away the future, the present, and even in the past, they put together, they are causing a lot of evil that I don't know how we survive it. It makes every Nigerian to go out, they start looking at us as a people with fraud tendencies. You go outside the shows of this country, people will be looking at you as if maybe you are half human, you are a terrible person because of what our literacies and some of what our leaders are doing. But if we establish our laws that are already there, ensure that we implement it. If this thing is 5, let's count on that 5. Leave whatever that's been announced. Whatever the beavers say, ensure that is what you use. Honestly, we'll get it right. And the issue of this buying vote and subverting and suppressing and finding a way to oppress
all the parties were accused of vote buying and selling on that day. Wasn't that the case you witnessed in
so far? Yes, we witnessed it, and it's part
all
of
parties
the ones we saw. They are not all parties. No, it's not even all parties that have the capacity to begin to buy vote. That to start with.
Which parties did you say?
Whatever, any party that buys vote is evil.
What parties did you say?
The leading parties. The leading parties. There are issues of leading parties. I think we have over 4 leading parties in that election, depending on the areas of strength. You understand? So buying of votes is because they have subjected our people to poverty. And we have seen where it has led us to. That 5,000 or 1,000 you collect, that pinch of salt you collect, that indomie you collect. We have seen where it has landed on all of us. Everybody's in lamentation with regards to it. So, and that one is subject to INEC and the security authorities to prosecute people found wanting in that area. It's a different thing entirely, and it's a criminal offense. What we are looking is the outcome of the election with regards to who is announced and who is supposed to announce and how it's supposed to be.
All right, in case you're just joining us, we're on the discourse of the state of the nation, and initially we looked at human rights abuse, how to protect human rights of Nigerian citizens, and we fast forwarded looking at global polls achieving credible elections, especially at the state level, ahead of the Ondo, Edo elections, and also zeroing into the elections gone by in Kogi State. As we look ahead tomorrow, there's going to be a verdict by the Supreme Court to decide if the elections in Kogi was truly free, fair, and credible. We'll go for a very quick break. When we return, we'll be wrapping up our discourse on Global Morning. Stay with us.
I want to go further to congratulate you on being on DSTV 365. Yeah, channel 365 is an awesome thing. Congratulations, and I will enjoy each and every one to keep on watching Global TV.
This is Global TV. For your current affairs, for your current information, ideas, education, entertainment news at the best. Channel 365 on DSTV. You have just come alive into a new phenomenon in the media industry. Keep watching. Stay tuned.
Keep watching Global Television on DSTV channel 365 for your news and all national issues and international breaking news. Watch Global TV.
All right, welcome back. We've reached the business end of today's program. We're still talking with Gerard Kachi, who is the National Secretary of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, CDHR. And he's been helping us look at the state of the nation, human rights abuse, protection of citizens' expression of right, and also we also did look at achieving credible elections at the state level and zeroing in on what played out in November last year, talking about the elections that went down in Kogi State and the aftermath of the elections, the fact that the tribunal and the appeal court had made their verdict. Now it's heading to the Supreme Court, and we're expectant of the Supreme Court verdict, and so we're looking at what is to come. All right, as we wrap up, we know that talking about the searching for Ariowola's successor, that's the next talking point there, topic 2, searching for Ariowola's successor, talking about the Chief Justice of Nigeria. How big is this task for the NJC, the National Judicial Commission, to get a very credible someone of integrity, who I don't want to say the big shoes of Kayode, if his shoes are big or not. How would you describe his reign as the Chief Justice of Nigeria?
I think the reign of a current Chief Judge is
the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
The Chief Justice, which will be ending, I think, tomorrow, thereabout.
August, yeah, towards the end of this.
Toward the end of the month, I think, has not been one of the best that we can hit our chest that we have. Under his reign, we have had just recently, a few days ago, judiciary we are being announced as the most corrupt institution of government in Nigeria. So it doesn't tell good about him. It doesn't tell good about him. Under his reign, we have saw a lot of scandals where they say that he was seen partying with the politicians, hobnobbing with them. You understand? So it has not really tell well under his reign. You understand? Judiciary as of today, you recall that under his reign, there are a lot of disregard to court orders. That because they have hobnobbed with ruling class. Before, when you hear court order, with the speed of light, people obey it, people listen to it. But nowadays, you see that you present court orders of either civil, criminal, whatever it is being treated like as if it's nothing. Some others will even go and abuse the same process and obtain similar order in the same jurisdiction. You obtain order in Abuja here. Some other person may go to Port Harcourt and obtain another one and tell that these orders of the same jurisdiction, they choose the one to obey and the one not to obey. That's because the leadership has not been upright. He has not been straight in his handling. So if he has been, there be consequences under his watch with wrongdoing. The judiciary will not be rated as the most corrupt institution of government.
But he has not been the only CJN. There were those before him.
Will
it be fair to just put the blame on him? We've been having this conflicting orders
once you are sent to position of leadership, whatever happened under your watch, you should be able to take the responsibility, whether it's your fault or not. There have been others that have been CJN, and under their watch, judiciary were not ranked the most corrupt institution. Under their watch, other institutions like police, like power sector, and other areas we are ranked. But under your watch, the last hope of common man is being ranked as the most corrupt in taking bribe, in subverting justice. It doesn't tell well about your leadership.
At a point, he did warn Nigerians that as long as judicial officials were not well paid, they should not expect the best from the judiciary. How do you take those comments, and did it help make the judiciary worse or better?
As of today, I think the current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has increased their salary to over 300%. That we know. Giving such a just that's something we are pushing with regards to the recent protests. We are telling our leaders the 70,000 minimum wage you are making cannot take home any worker. Transportation alone will engulf that in 1 month. Let alone feeding, let alone clothing, etc., etc. You understand? What it simply means, you give room to corruption because people must survive. Somebody, just as recent as yesterday or thereabout, we saw a National Assembly officer that said that he goes home every day with over 21 million.
Every month.
Every month, with over 21 million. That 21 million divided by 70,000, you see that it's over 300. 70 times 300 will give you almost that amount, even more than less than that amount. It goes to tell you the impunity, the abuse of power, and whether you pay judicial officer less or more, integrity matters. Before Justice Ariworo became CJN, there were others before then. How have they handled that office? How have they led? That made judiciary to be one of the most feared institutions in the country that have not compromised. But under this one, it appears like there's a lot of issues of compromise.
All right, so what will be the key things the NJC should be looking at for the new...
Integrity.
The next CJN.
Integrity. Somebody that has uprightness. Somebody has not compromised in any form. In fact, one of the things that has brought us to our knees today is because we petition merit to issue of zone today. In this month, our honorable CJN will be bowing out, and they see people will begin to clamor. Successor should be from either the north or this one is from the west. It should come. Things like that. We are slaughtering merit on the altar of this kind of, and that's why we are suffering. So if we are selecting chief judge, expecting our judiciary to be robust, to be respected, to be upright with regards to delivering justice to the Nigerian masses, we should look for somebody that has the merit, the capacity, the integrity to lead, and not somebody that know at the ruling class. So these are some of the challenges we are facing. If I'm a president today and I nominate somebody to be CJN that I'm close to, the person will do my bidding directly or indirectly because I help him to aid him to that place. But if the person gets to that place on merit, you will see the difference.
Can we also hold the NJC responsible if they get it wrong? Instead of allowing the presidency or lobbyists to go through the presidency to decide who they pick, shouldn't the NJC be, be proactive by deciding this is who we've selected, rather than wait for the presidency or the lawmakers to lobby a name towards their direction?
Well, today, even the NJC are not happy that they are being pronounced as the most corrupt institution in the land. I'm not sure that anybody working in the NJC, no matter how highly ranked the person is proud to be associated with an institution that is being seen as the most corrupt. So it's an opportunity for them to remedy already bad situation. It's an opportunity for them to at least establish, just like what we are talking about the tribunal elections. Tomorrow is also an opportunity for Supreme Court to either dash electorate hope or restore electorate hope with regards to some of the things that have been added into the Electoral Act, like beavers. You understand? So it boils down to judiciary. There was a governor in the north, is now a former governor, that was notorious with regards to disregard to court orders.
Can we, let's don't speculate, be specific.
Okay.
In terms of names.
Okay. Let me just leave the name. There's someone I know.
No, let's leave the conversation. But the idea is for us to be sure what you're saying.
When he finishes his tenure and he has infringement by the incumbent, he runs to court to obtain order. When he was in charge, he was not obeying orders.
Who is that? Because I do not know who you're talking about. So on this program, we don't like speculations. Let's be straightforward.
Let's leave that.
All right, I think that's how much time is going to take us on this conversation. I want to say a big thank you to Gerald Kachi, who is the National Secretary of the Committee of Defense of Human Rights, joining us in the studio to look at the state of the nation as we looked at human rights abuses, how to protect citizens' expression of rights. And we also did look at the issue of the current Chief Justice of Nigeria, whose tenure will be expiring by the end of this month, and a successor is being looked at. So we'll be looking at who is the right man to take charge of the judiciary in Nigeria. And that and other talking points is what we looked at on today's edition, and also achieving credible, free, fair, and credible elections at the state level, zeroing in on the issue of Kogi State elections that is still from the tribunal to the appeal now heading to the Supreme Court, where we await what the verdict is likely to be. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up Global Morning. Stay with us.
I want to go further to congratulate you on being on DSTV 365. Yeah, channel 365 is an awesome thing. Congratulations, and I will enjoy each and every one to keep on watching Global TV.
This is Global TV. For your current affairs, for your current information, ideas, education, entertainment news at the best. Channel 365 on DSTV. You have just come alive into a new phenomenon in the media industry. Keep watching. Stay tuned.
Keep watching Global Television on DSTV channel 365 for your news and all national issues and international breaking news. Watch Global TV.
All right, welcome back from the break. It's been talk non-stop from protection of human rights, human abuse, especially with the, I wanted to say NSAS, the hunger protests, and also looking at the issue of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, whose tenure ends this month, looking at who is going to succeed him, and also ensuring that we get good, free, fair, and credible elections in Ondo and Edo State. Those are some of the issues we looked at the state of the nation. But for you, I know human rights abuse is, that activist believes this government has not been fair as regards the rights of Nigerians.
Well, relatively, not necessarily. Well, we'll term it this government because we see police brutality, we see abuse from even lawmakers and people we expect to be in leadership positions who should know better. We see them abuse their rights as citizens, particularly the police, day in, day out. I think the police needs a lot of reforms, strongly against abuse, especially from quarters where we expect some level of sanity, discipline, and to uphold human rights. We don't expect them to abuse these people. And protest, as regards protest, it's one of the fundamental human rights of every Nigerian, whenever, but peaceful. It should be peaceful and not violence instigated. So it should be peaceful. And so when we have peaceful protesters and these peaceful protesters are attacked, then their rights are being violated. So we should see to it that people protest peacefully and not with violence.
All right, for this CJN, and what kind of CJN will you be expecting? And what's your scorecard for this present Chief Justice? Tenors, wrap it up.
I think this should, we expect, moving forward, we expect a Chief Justice that is fair, a Chief Justice that is free from political affiliations, that is true to the core, and who is on the side of humanity and Nigerians as well. I think moving forward, that's what we expect. And on that note, I think this is what we'll call it a wrap on Global Morning.
All right.
What are you expecting? I should be asking what you are expecting.
Well, like you rightly pointed out, someone is Chief Justice that will be very stern, should be very firm, so that we stop seeing conflicting rulings, someone who would be able to speak true to power and not just dance to whatever the presidency says, someone who is not going to patronize the politicians like we saw towards his last days, swearing in 12 justices. We had relatives to the FCT minister and some other government officials and his own bloodline being sworn in. Not like it's bad for them to be in the same profession, but
competence. What's
corporate ethics does not allow that to happen. And the fact that he also threatened Nigerians that as long as judicial officials are not well paid, we shouldn't expect the best of justice. So it's more like the highest bidder takes it all. So I think we want a better judiciary, even
most likely a Chief Justice that will be on the side of justice.
On the side of justice. All right, so we want to say thank you for joining us on today's amazing edition of the program, Global Morning. We hope tomorrow will definitely be better. It's going to be the end of the week. We're going to take a look at all the big stories that played out in the course of the week and also project you to what to expect next week. My name is Anthony Momodu saying good morning.
And I'm Queen Agapa. Have a beautiful day ahead.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
He struggled as he tried.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.